Hello, I am Stephanie Oberman, and this is my independent learning assignment. The first event I attended was a Why Teach panel hosted by the Student Literacy Association, and this was a panel of teachers from all different levels answering questions about what it's really like to be a teacher. I chose this learning opportunity because I feel like teaching can be a very varied profession where there's so many different experiences that you cannot predict. So I love hearing specific teacher experiences that I can learn from and use the teaching that I've had in my classes to kind of put myself in their shoes so I can be more prepared for experiences that I may have in the future. The first main point I took from this event was that the teachers were asked, what's one thing that you know now that you wish you knew in your first year of teaching? And many of the teachers' responses were something along the lines about humility and using the resources and support that you have available as a teacher. They talked about how it's okay to fail and make mistakes, but to make sure that you own up and learn from your mistakes and that you don't have to know everything. Reach out and use the support that you do have available. This is something that I know I'm continually working on. Owning up to mistakes and not doing everything just by yourself can be a hard habit to break, but it's one that I'm working on breaking for my future classroom. The second main point that I took from this event was advice about dealing with parents. Like we have discussed in this class, they emphasize making the first contact with parents a positive one. And one of the teachers on the panel talked about how she sends out a get to know me video at the beginning of the year and tried to make it kind of relatable and talk about topics, even like her favorite sports team. And that from then on out, it really made parent interactions much more natural and human rather than like very formal and cold, which they sometimes can tend to be if you don't have that parent-teacher relationship at the beginning of the year. And this is something that I would really like to try to do in my future classroom or even home visits if possible, because I think that that could be really beneficial and give you a lot of insight into your students. Last major point I took from this event was the specific questions that one of the teachers used for all of her students at the beginning of the year, which is, what is something that I need to know about to make this school year a good educational experience for you? I made special note of this question because I would love to be able to use this in my future classroom. I think it would give you great insight to your students and give them a great opportunity to tell you what they need. Overall, I think I can continue to learn about these topics through my courses because I've been fortunate enough to learn a lot of these already in a lot of my classes. But I also plan on reaching out and talking to more teachers about their personal experiences to learn more. The second event that I attended was the first part of the Illuminating Educators series, and during this one they discussed Title IX and its implications for teachers. Leah Gutnet, I apologize if I did not pronounce that correctly, but she is a Title IX officer here at UNI, and she spoke about this and did a wonderful job summarizing this. I chose this event because before this I had never heard about Title IX, and by briefly looking into it, I realized that it is really important for teachers to know more about, so I was super excited for this event. Overall, I learned that Title IX is a federal civil rights law that pertains specifically to sex-based discrimination in schools, including K-12 and higher education. So we do have a Title IX officer and program here at UNI. The first thing I learned was the areas that are impacted by Title IX, which are sexual harassment, sexual assault, domestic and dating violence, stalking, pregnant and parenting, students, athletics, extracurricular activities, academics, financial aid, and admissions. So it covers basically anything that the school has to offer and make sure that there's no discrimination in any of those activities. The second thing I learned about Title IX is that when somebody reports an incident, that person or the person who the report was made on behalf of gets to decide how they want to proceed. So they can decide if they don't want to do anything further. They can decide if they want to accept any of the support services that are offered, if they want to make a more formal complaint that would lead into an investigation with possible consequences for the person that they were accusing, or if they want to take legal action. I also learned about some of the specific support services that I just talked about that UNI offers, which I found very interesting and beneficial to know some specifics that they offer. And some of those are no contact orders, changing class schedules, moving room assignments, and sending notes to instructors so the instructors can know what's going on and maybe let you miss a few days of class or give you some extension on an assignment. There's a lot of different supports that they can provide. The last main point I learned was that Title IX's regulations have changed several times from the Obama to the Trump administration, and we are currently awaiting changes through Biden's administration as well. And I thought this was really important to know so I can continue to check on these regulations as I become a future teacher myself. So I plan to do regular research to stay up to date on the changes that are made. And overall, my takeaway for the future classroom from this event was to make sure that my future school has Title IX procedures in place and that I know the people that are in charge of that. So if an incident ever does occur, I know who I can report it to and who I can talk to, and just the laws surrounding what I'm allowed to do with a student and what support I can provide for them. So yeah, I had a wonderful time attending these events.